We're just under a month into 2025, and there is a lot of turmoil politically that could have an impact on your finances. Parliament in Ottawa is prorogued while the Liberals host their leadership contest. And at the same time, Canada is just 5 days away from Donald Trump's threat of tariffs. The question lingers: what does the threat of tariffs mean for Canada's economy and financial wellness? We're now joined by Brendan Caldwell, director at Caldwell Securities Limited, to unpack exactly that. Brendan, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Should be a good one, Theresa.
Now, with President Trump's first week in office under our belts and a potential Canadian election on the horizon, it's safe to say there's a lot to recap only a month into 2025. So, what would you say some key moments in 2025 have been, and how are they going to influence Canada's financial wellness?
Well, obviously, President Trump taking office Monday of last week was, as they would say, kind of a big deal, or as he would say, huge. Um, I think I will pause you, and we can bet on this. You said an imminent Canadian election. I do not think there will be an imminent Canadian election. I think the most likely scenario is that whether Christopher Freeland or Mark Carney, who would seem to be the two most likely candidates, end up as the new Liberal leader and thereby becoming prime minister. I don't think that the NDP is going to force an election anytime soon after that. I expect that it'll be no sooner than the summer and probably the autumn before we actually have an election here. The election in Ontario, however, is apparently coming much, much sooner. So I think even the Ontario government knows that it's got some time, because the feds will not be calling elections soon. To your question about Mr. Trump becoming president, he has made a lot of pronouncements, including getting a 25% tariff up against the Canadians, and as well as many other countries. But not surprisingly, he hasn't done anything about it, because I think, like annexing Greenland, it's one thing to say a thing, it's another thing to actually get her done. And I think there's a ways between here and getting her done in terms of tariffs on Canada.
Now, on that topic of tariffs, the worry right now is, what is Canada supposed to do? So, what happens if Canada proposes a similar 25% trade tariff on the US? What industries do you think will be most affected?
Well, I think all of Canada will be affected.
Mhm.
I do think that a knee-jerk reaction is probably not the right one, just because on a day one, February 1st or whenever, if the US were to do something or another country were to do something, it doesn't mean that we need to do something right back. It should mean that we have a parliament where stuff can be debated. I do think it objectionable, to say the least, that during this very important time, for the sake of Liberal Party continuity, that they've decided to have a suspend Parliament like they were King Charles I or something, while they get their act together. So I do think we should have a deliberated, coordinated approach as a country. To borrow from an American founding father, I think Ben Franklin, if we do not hang together, we shall all surely hang separately. So I don't think that the provinces running off and creating their own foreign policy, the United States, is the right way of doing it, because there's nothing more that President Trump would like than divide and conquer.
And with President Trump's inauguration and the launch of his and Melania's cryptocurrencies, Trump and Melania Coin, how do you think regulations and the markets will respond to cryptocurrencies moving forward?
Well, generally the markets have been favorable. I believe I know the Trump coin did extraordinarily well in the days leading up to the inauguration. May have come back down somewhat here. I don't know the exact prices, but there has certainly been a more favorable attitude toward the so-called cryptocurrencies. I think there may be some bubble in them at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some settling down of those. I think it remains to be seen, this new revelation out of China, this new AI platform called DeepSeek,
Mhm.
which has rattled markets, the tech markets and the crypto markets in specific. I think it remains to be seen what the impact of that's going to be, but I think it'll be interesting all around, um, what the reaction will be. I think we're probably at peak Bitcoin right now for the moment.
Well, Brent, as always, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Theresa.